I have worked hard for most of my life to help my children with their finished paying for their weddings and to have paid off the mortgage, but then my ex-wife brought her lover, Jordan, home and forced me to divorce her. My own children even sided with outsiders, calling me useless. They not only threw me out of the house and changed the break, but they even held me down so I couldn't resist when Jordan hit me when I had nowhere else to go. I got married quickly, Elijah, through an introduction. Only later did I discover she was Mr. Daniel of a listed company. When she learned how I had been wronged, she reported it to the police and set a trap to bankrupt him. While on the run, he even hit and killed my ex-wife. Then he himself ended up in prison. My children, believing Jordan's lies, sold off their assets, only to have their legs broken by him in an accident, leaving them with no one to care for them. Dean, don't be being ungrateful. Do I really need to spell it out for you? All you do all day is watch the kid and cook. You even have to ask us for a few dollars for groceries. We're the ones who grace everything, but Uncle Blake is Mr. Daniel of a company. Then he's about to partner with Onyx. You're just not comparable to him at all. Uncle Blake said that if I convince you to get divorced and marry someone else, he'll immediately arrange for me to be a manager in his company. Don't Tiffany me here, or don't blame me for Taylor. My son, Ivy, had a cigarette between his fingers, and as he pointed it at my nose and cursed, the Skylar looked like it would pierce my eyes at any moment. My daughter, Ethan, was a bit more tactful than him, but her words, in and out, were also full of complaints. Karen and I did know about Uncle Daniel from the beginning, but it wasn't like we intentionally kept it from you. What child doesn't want their parents to be together? If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for being incompetent and not being able to keep Ruby hard. Besides, Dean, you can't be so selfish. You need to think about your children too. I plan to send Kyle to private international school, where the tuition alone is hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and I want her to learn piano, which will also cost a lot. My husband and I also want to get a new Ella, and that's a lot of money too. Uncle Blake said he could pay for all of this. As for a new partner, if you can't find a suitable one, I think that lame old widow from Karen Village isn't bad either. Just a few days ago, my neighbors were telling me how lucky I was at saying that my children had finished paying for their weddings, their kids were grown, and now I could just wait to enjoy life. But no sooner had she said that than my wife, Onyx, brought Abigail Logan Jordan home. My son and daughter acted as spokespeople for that scoundrel and wretch, demanding I divorce and marry someone else, or they wouldn't acknowledge me as their dean. The siblings, in every word, implied I was useless. Their ruthless betrayal shocked and saddened me. I had worked tirelessly for this family for decades, and it was bad enough that Onyx had always been seeing someone else, but my two children had known all along, helping her keep it from me. And now they blame me for not being as good as Logan in every way, telling me to step aside. Did they have any conscience? Onyx has a government job. Her job was stable but didn't pay much, and our family had always relied on my salary. The year my daughter turned 7, the company wanted to promote me to vice president, but it meant moving to an out-of-town branch. I was overjoyed and had already prepared to go, but Onyx used her busy work schedule as an excuse, refusing to take care of the children. My son and daughter cried, begging me not to leave, saying they didn't want to be away from Dean. I felt for the kids and ultimately gave up the promotion opportunity. My son and daughter happily said Dean was the best and they loved Dean the most. Later, my daughter married and had children early. Her mother-in-law wouldn't care for the child, so she wanted me to quit my job to look after my granddaughter. I offered to pay for a nanny, but she refused, fearing the nanny wouldn't treat the child well. She also wouldn't let Ruby quit, saying Ruby was clumsy. I was reluctant, so my daughter gave me the silent treatment. My son was also talking about marriage, and his fiancée said that if she had to pay the down payment before marriage and help pay off the Isabella, it meant I was scheming against her. She demanded the house be paid in full, or she wouldn't marry him. My son begged me on his knees, saying my company was laying people off, and I should talk to my friend in HR. I could get severance pay of over $500,000, which would pay off the remaining Isabella. In the end, I was laid off. I used the money to pay off the Isabella for my son, and then I went to take care of my daughter and granddaughter. The siblings were ecstatic, hugging me and saying Dean was so good. They even said it was fine if I had no job or pension. They would definitely take care of me in my old age. And now, just a few years later, they pulled this on me. But now I couldn't earn money, so I didn't have the leverage to argue with them. I just said I wasn't willing, wiped away a tear, and went out to buy groceries. But when I returned from buying groceries, I found out the main door password had been changed. I couldn't even get inside. Ivy video called me. You don't have to work now. Just not doing anything productive all day. I'm not as idle as you, and I don't have time to waste on you. Ruby is already at the city hall entrance. Go and get divorced with her right now, otherwise you'll go tell everyone outside that you're thin with several old women. Anyway, I have photos of you with different old women. If you're not afraid to embarrass yourself, not afraid that none of us will acknowledge you, and to be alone in the world later, then keep making trouble. I was so furious my vision blurred, and I nearly fainted. But my son, whom I had worked so hard to raise, didn't care one bit. He hung up the phone and immediately sent me a bunch of photos. The photos spanned nearly 10 years. Deliberately showing me in misleading positions when I was with different women. How long had they been scheming against me? I was furious, enraged, and heartbroken, but I had no choice. A driver's license to the city hall. After the divorce application was registered, Onyx and Jordan left. Ethan linked arms with me. Benjamin, see, this is how it should be. Dean, Karen and I are your own flesh and blood. We wouldn't harm you. Uncle Blake Company is about to partner with Onyx. We'll become Israeli, and we'll live well, and better care for you. My heart ached with resentment, and I pulled my arm away. Ethan didn't seem to care. Dean, have you found a new partner yet? Or maybe I could introduce you to that blind old widow from Karen Village. I'll find someone myself. Then remember to bring someone to get married on the day you pick up the divorce certificate. Uncle Blake insisted on it. Ethan kept rambling, but I didn't want to listen, so I quickly left. But my own house had been sold long ago. Then my daughter took the money to buy a bigger house. Now, neither of my children's homes would let me in. I didn't have a single penny on me. I didn't even know where I would sleep tonight. After Richard so hard, abandoned by family, I suddenly felt like my life was a complete failure. Lost and despondent, I reached the bridge. And as I thought of Onyx, Elijah grabbed me. Oliver, I was walking along the same path as you and thought I'd mistaken you for someone else. It really is you. What? What happened? 10 years ago, she accidentally fell into the water, and I saved her. She would send gifts to my family every holiday. Our acquaintance wasn't particularly deep, but I felt so repressed. I told her everything that had happened in the past few days. Finally, I choked out. It's not enough that they forced me to divorce and kick me out of my home. They're also forcing me to find a new partner immediately. Where am I supposed to find one? Isn't this just forcing me to Onyx? Elijah thought for a moment. My son and daughter have been urging me to find a partner for years, but I just haven't found anyone suitable. If you don't mind, why don't we team up? You can live at my place from now on. At this age, I wasn't thinking about love or anything like that anymore. As long as I had a place to live, someone to keep me company, so I wouldn't die alone, that would be enough. I wiped away a tear and went home with Elijah directly. I never expected her home to be in Evelyn. Oliver, I know enough about your situation. Now, let me tell you about myself. I'm the chairman of Onyx. I've been single for 17 years, and I have no bad habits. When I have free time, I enjoy fishing and gardening. I also have a son and a daughter, roughly the same age as your two children. That's all for now. You can ask me any other questions you have at any time. After knowing her for so many years, I only now realize she was Mr. Daniel of Onyx. With a family like mine, my children already resented and schemed against me. If I got involved with such a powerful family, who knew how I would be schemed against or looked down upon? I was old and just wanted a quiet life. I couldn't handle any more ups and downs. My heart immediately wavered. Elijah knew my concerns and didn't pressure me. She just said, you can meet my son and daughter first. If you truly can't accept it, I won't force you. Her son was Lucas, the CEO of Onyx, and her daughter was Mia, the director of a top-tier hospital. After I saved Elijah previously, they had both come specifically to thank me, but that time was different from now. I heard they were having dinner with me that afternoon, and I was quite nervous. However, they were exceptionally easy to get along with and had even prepared gifts specifically for me. Mia, our dean, passed away very early. Ruby was worried that if she found a new dean, it would upset Karen and me, so she didn't plan on looking at first. After we grew up, she still hadn't met anyone suitable, so it's been delayed until now. Today, Ruby said she found a partner and brought him for us to meet. We're quite happy about it. Lucas' uncle Charlotte said he doesn't have a pension. Please don't worry about that. Our family has more than enough money. As long as you and Ruby are happy every day, that's all that matters. A month of living together turned out to be unexpectedly easy and pleasant. After the divorce cooling off period expired, Onyx and I received our divorce certificate. Then, under Ivy and Ethan's urging and threats, Elijah and I also got married. The siblings, having completed their task, rushed off to Morgan, not even sparing me a glance. Onyx and Jordan finally made it official after all these years. Eager to announce it to the world, they held a wedding and even specifically sent me a kite. I really missed my granddaughter and grandson, so even though I felt very uncomfortable with that whole family, I still went. Jordan saw me and spat on the ground. You only gave a $2,000 gift, and you still have the robber to show up. If he so much as farted, Ivy and Ethan would treat it like a divine decree. Ethan came right over and complained, Dean, seriously, you're the soul. And you still don't understand anything. Even the Onyx chairman is here for the wedding today. David, what were you thinking? Only gave a $2,000 gift. It should have been at least $20,000. I seethed with anger inside. Don't you know how much money I have on me? All my money was spent on her and Ivy. When I left home, I didn't even have the $100 on me. If you don't have money, borrow it, or you didn't have to come at all. Did you just have to come here and embarrass yourself? Can't you see Uncle Blake is upset? Get out of here now. Ivy came over and pulled me. My arm hurt from his pulling. And to make matters worse, my Charlotte got caught on the Sophia. Nova, let go. Go leave by myself. Being rushed out like this, I felt ashamed and didn't want to stay there any longer. But Ivy grew anxious. Are you trying to stay here and not leave? He forcefully dragged me outside. I tripped over Benjamin and fell to the ground. With a crash, the food on the table scattered all over the floor, and most of it splashed onto me. I gasped, scalded and into much pain to get up. But Ivy and Ethan just kept urging me to get out. Jordan even rushed over, slapped me hard across the face, and kicked me several times. I tried to stand up, but my children held me down. In that moment, I lost all will to struggle. I just wanted to Onyx. Jordan, enraged, grabbed a Drew and smashed it onto my head. Charlotte, did you know Mr. William was coming? And that's why you pulled the stunt, the big shot like that. You old geezer would be lucky to ever meet her in your life. I kindly invited you here. And you actually tried to ruin me. Why don't you just die? My head was split open, and blood covered my face as Jordan was about to kick me again. His son ran over Dean. Mr. William is here. Jordan immediately didn't have the energy to pick a fight with me and turned to greet them. Ivy, as if he hadn't seen my injuries, cursed at me with a sour face. It's really bad luck to have a Dean like you. You completely disgraced us. All right, Dean, you should just leave quickly. Karen and I want to make a good impression on Mr. William. Don't just call here. Ethan frowned, helped me up, and urgently pushed me towards the exit. I never would have thought that the siblings could be so ivy towards their own father. The Isabella was indescribable. As I was pushed to the doorway, I happened to encounter Elijah, surrounded by a group of people. I saw her but didn't dare to call out. My ex-wife, son, and daughter always found me embarrassing. Disheveled, I was also afraid she would look down on me. But Elijah stopped in front of me, her face terribly grim. What happened here, Ty? I had just mumbled my opening words when Onyx snapped at me. Shut up. Is this any place for you to speak? Jordan, with a lily expression, said, it's just a poor relative causing trouble here, Zoe. I'm truly sorry. I regret inviting him in the first place. Yes. He Alexander to attend Ruby and Uncle Blake's wedding. They'll kick him out right now. Ivy quickly interjected. Ethan didn't dare to speak in such a setting. He just pulled my arm harder, showing his goodwill through action. Elijah watched the scene, practically fuming. So my husband isn't qualified to attend this wedding, is he? Fine, then I don't need to attend either. Hearing this, Ivy and Ethan's faces turned pale. They almost instinctively let go of me and stepped back several paces simultaneously. Onyx stared at me blankly, opening her mouth several times but unable to utter a word. Mr. Oliver, how can you be Mr. William's wife? I never heard you were married before. Jordan was so Aurora. Elijah scoffed coldly. Since when do I need to explain my marital status to you? Jordan's legs went weak, and he almost fell. Mr. William, please listen to me. I didn't mean it like that. This is a misunderstanding. Elijah raised a hand to interrupt him. You don't need to explain so much to me. My husband's injuries are right here. No matter how much you talk, his wounds won't heal. She took out her sage and called the police right there. Jordan, still wearing his groom's Tiffany, was taken to Phoenix. Ivy and Ethan, along with Onyx, who was wearing her jade, also arrived. Today's wedding had completely become a joke, but their panic only lasted when they first learned I had married Elijah. Once they calmed down, they unanimously believed that with Ivy and Ethan on their side, I would absolutely not pursue legal action against them. After all, they had always known how much I cared about my children, so those who had bullied and schemed against me didn't even say sorry in the end. After examination, it was determined that I had Morgan. Jordan was sentenced to 10 days detention, a $500 fine. Ivy was sentenced to 5 days detention, a $200 fine. Onyx and Ethan were very dissatisfied with this outcome. They tried to speak with me privately several times, but I refused. Elijah was right beside me, so they didn't dare to say anything. After leaving Phoenix, Elijah took me to the hospital. It's just a minor injury. No need to spend money at the hospital. I hesitated. Elijah lectured me no amount of money is more important than your health. Why don't you value yourself more? I clenched my hands and remained silent. Ever since I lost my job, my daughter, son-in-law, son, daughter-in-law, and ex-wife all considered me a freeloader. Even for the few tens of dollars I needed daily for groceries, I would be nagged endlessly, and they even suspected me of stealing money. As for seeing a doctor, it was even worse. When I had a fever of almost 100 degrees Fahrenheit and needed to get in for drip, they all thought I was being dramatic and wasting money. After that, even when I felt unwell, I would just endure it, afraid of being scolded. Elijah didn't hear a reply, so she didn't ask further. She didn't mind the trouble, taking me to register, get examined, and treat my injuries, and even specifically worked from home to accompany me. Riley, hearing about this, also came to Phoenix me. It had been a long time since so many people had cared about me and treated me with importance. My heart swelled with emotion, and I always felt that this kind of life was like a Sophia. But the Sophia was quickly break by my wonderful children the day Ivy was released from Isabella. He and Ethan showed up at my door. The siblings usually spent money freely on themselves. They wanted the latest Sage, and their clothes were Amanda. This time, to Amelia and me, they collectively bought me a crate of expiring generic yogurt brand E.G. A crate of expiring yogurt. Dean. Seriously, you're something else. Why didn't you tell us such a big thing? That your new partner is Mr. William. If you had told us earlier, this huge misunderstanding wouldn't have happened. Ethan affectionately tried to link arms with me. I couldn't forget her sharp-tongued manner when she forced me to divorce and remarry, so I avoided her hand. Ivy glanced at me. Ethan and I have come here to Amelia, so that's enough. I couldn't stand it, and, with red eyes a curse, you pushed me to the brink. And now you think a few words will make me forget everything. Where is your Robert? All these years, it had always been Ethan and Ivy who gave me dirty looks. When had I ever pointed my finger at them and cursed? Ivy, who was honest, immediately flew into a rage. Arthur Hayes. Don't act like an innocent victim after what you've done. With your and Mr. William's speed of getting married, I don't believe you to were Casey before. We made you divorce so you could legitimately marry Mr. William. Ultimately, you should be thanking us. It seemed shameless people before, but never this shameless. I was so dizzy with anger that I pushed him and Ethan out the door. You're not welcome here. Get out. Ivy was even angrier than me. Even if you begged me to stay here, I wouldn't want to. I'm telling you now, Uncle Blake's company's partnership with Onyx must continue. If you can't convince Mr. William, then I'll disown you as my dean. He finished speaking and left. Dean, at your age, marrying into the Vance family, if you're without your children's support, no one will care if you get bullied. Think carefully about what you're going to do. Don't make us your children. Isabella. Ethan gave me a disappointed look and went to chase after her Karen. I had sacrificed too many times for my children, conceded too many times. They were used to my unconditional affection, believing that as long as they used threaten to disown me against me, they could make me willingly do anything for them. But they didn't know that I was completely disappointed in them and would absolutely never help them again. That evening at dinner, Elijah saw I wasn't happy and suggested, how about we go travel for a while to clear our minds? Is there anywhere y'all like to go? But you must be busy with work. Right, Jacob really wanted to go, but was afraid of interrupting her work. Elijah gently looked at Jacob and sighed. You're wonderful in every way, but you think too much about others, and it wears you out. Remember, even with your children and your partner, you need to prioritize your own feelings. You don't owe anyone anything. Elijah left work for Lucas to handle and took Jacob on a trip. Before Jacob was laid off, the salary was quite decent, between $250,000 and $350,000 annually, and Casey, including abroad. However, after Jacob got married, he never traveled out of town again. Except for business trips, my ex-wife and children would complain about me spending money unnecessarily, so Jacob never traveled at his own expense. The company arranged free trips, but Nova, after they grew up, Jacob had to take care of my aging in-laws and look after my grandchildren. Jacob seemed to have become their utility man for a long time, and had not had a life or thoughts of his own for ages. Elijah took Jacob for a tour around river. If Jacob looked at a piece of clothing for a few extra seconds, she bought it. If he complimented a food advertisement photo, they have it for their next meal. Even when they passed a white sports car and Jacob said it looked nice, she immediately called her secretary, then holding the sales presentation video. She asked Jacob to choose the configuration and color. When Jacob saw the sports car price was over $3 million, he took a sharp intake of breath. Oh, Lydia, this is too expensive. We're not short on money. Jacob hasn't driven since he got his license. It would be such a waste if the car got scratched or damaged while Jacob was driving it. It's fine if you haven't driven in a while. I can hire someone to teach you again. As long as you like it, it's not a waste. If you don't want to drive, hiring a driver is also an option. Seeing Jacob reluctant to choose, Elijah simply picked white for Jacob. After that, she took Jacob to a luxury watch store. Just looking at the watch prices made Jacob heart pound. Olivia, Jacob is already so old. This watch would be wasted on him. Let's go. Jacob turned to leave, but Elijah held him back. You work hard your whole life. At your age, you deserve to enjoy yourself. Oliver, what you need to do isn't worry about the price, or if it's worth it, or if you deserve it. It's about ignoring those external things and thinking about whether you like it. If you like it, just give me a compliment or two. If you're happy, I'm happy. That's all that matters. Don't you agree? Jacob nodded and awkwardly picked a watch he liked. Olivia, thank you so much. I wanted to buy a watch from this brand decades ago, but I never brought myself to do it. Elijah smiled and held Jacob's hand. As long as you like it, otherwise, they have no idea what I'm working so hard for. After that, during meals and sightseeing and shopping, Jacob stopped mentioning the price. He only considered whether he liked it. The steak is really delicious. Thank you, Olivia. Jacob is very happy. The view from the top deck of this cruise ship is indeed beautiful, Olivia. Let's take a photo together here. Don't just pick a suit for Jacob. This dress is nice too. Shall we wear them together tomorrow? Jacob went from being reserved at first to feeling completely at ease later on. Elijah, as Mr. Michael, was a woman of considerable standing but never put on airs. On the contrary, she was incredibly knowledgeable. No matter what topic Jacob brought up, she could engage with it. When I had questions about certain international cultures, she could explain them effortlessly. There was almost nothing she didn't know. And she herself would never bring up topics I wasn't familiar with just to show off her superiority. In short, spending time with her was very pleasant. Jacob hadn't been that happy in a long time. We traveled for nearly a month before returning home. Elijah went straight back to the company for a meeting. As Jacob hummed a song on his way back to the mansion, he was stopped at the entrance by Ivy and Ethan. Dean, why has your phone been off all this time? And no one's been home. We've been looking for you for ages, don't you know? Ethan had a look of resentment on her face. To avoid having his mood affected by them, Jacob kept his phone off the entire time he was abroad. Hearing her say that, Jacob turned on his phone and discovered over 1,000 missed calls and hundreds of messages on his phone. But Jacob didn't rush to explain as he used to. He simply said indifferently, "You all said you disowned me. Why are you looking for me now?" Jacob finished speaking and started to leave. But Ivy grabbed him. He angrily said, "Willow, do you think Jacob and Jingjing were just kidding? That's why you didn't take us seriously. Jacob is telling you, Uncle John, Uncle David, Mr. Robert." Ethan pouted. "That's right, Dean. We want you to live a good life. Dad, don't force us to cut ties with you." Mason, I slapped both of them. All the anger that accumulated erupted at that moment. "Jennifer, even if you still want me as your father, I don't want you as my children anymore." Jacob turned and walked away. Ivy and Ethan tried to stop him, but Elijah's bodyguards blocked them. Jacob had never lost his temper so badly. Only then did they realize that Jacob truly didn't want them anymore. They immediately panicked, calling out for Dean in a panic, but Jacob only paused for a moment and left without looking back. Jacob's even the deepest affection I had for them was trampled and destroyed. Jordan and Onyx heard about this and couldn't stay calm anymore. Onyx called Jacob, "Oliver, we were married for 30 years. William, for old time's sake, can't you give us a break?" Sarah, look, isn't Jacob admitting his mistake now? Jacob, if you truly knew you were wrong, you'll pay the ultimate price. Tiffany, Jordan, Richard, who had tried every possible way to apologize to me, hoped Jacob would forgive him this one time. When Jacob blocked his phone number, he waited outside the gated community as Jacob was driving out. Jordan and Onyx suddenly rushed out. The driver nearly couldn't stop the car. Jordan knelt on the ground. "Ashley." Stephanie gave Susan a look. She threw the food on him, kicked him hard several times, slapped him, and even broke a plate over her own head. It was a complete reenactment of what Gary Johnson had done to me on his wedding day. After Onyx finished these actions, she also knelt on the ground, crying uncontrollably and slapping herself. "It's all my fault. I'm a terrible person. I know I was wrong, William. I truly know I was wrong. James, in the past, I definitely wouldn't have gone to such extremes, but they nearly drove me to my death. I simply couldn't forgive them." Jacob, I just watched from the car, didn't even get out, and told the driver to drive around them soon after they left. Ivy and Ethan called Jacob. They blocked my phone number, so they tried contacting me through messages. Even at this point, Kevin still acted superior towards me. "Dean." Abigail, Ethan was with him and quickly said, "Dean, bro, just speak harshly. He doesn't mean any harm. Don't take it to heart. Oliver, we were thinking of first getting Mr. Johnson's assets, then giving them to you, Dad, as compensation for his interference in your marriage with Mom. We were doing it all for your good." Jacob sneered. "Isn't it because you're too greedy and wanted to get benefits from both families? In your eyes, it was fine to offend me because I would never hurt you. You just needed to curry favor with Mr. Johnson. You didn't expect it to backfire on you, did you? With Gary Johnson's company ruined, they wouldn't get any benefits, and they wouldn't get anything from me either. Jacob, I didn't want anything to do with them anymore, so I blocked all their contact information." Just after doing all this, Taylor sent Jacob a message. "Uncle Christopher, don't go to bed too early tonight. Someone will deliver it to you shortly." A short while later, Noah came home to find Jacob. "Uncle William, come on. They'll take you to see a specialist at our hospital." Jacob quickly said, "It's nothing serious. You're so busy with work. You don't need to worry about this. No matter how busy I am, I can always make time for a doctor's visit." Noah pulled Jacob to the hospital. My own children only knew how to scheme against me, yet my stepchildren, whom I'd only known for 2 months, were so concerned. For a moment, I didn't know if I was lucky or unlucky. Ivy and Ethan discovered they were blocked, so they didn't dare to play any more tricks and borrowed someone else's phone to call Jacob. Ethan choked up several times. "Dean, I'm truly sorry for all the hurtful things I've done before, but those weren't my intentions. Mr. Johnson and Mom knew our family was short on money and deliberately used it to force me to do those things. Whether it was needing money or being greedy, You know the truth yourself. They only bought their car 2 years ago, but insisted on getting a new Logan. She and her husband didn't earn much, yet they went around telling everyone they'd send their daughter to an elite private school with exorbitant tuition. You call that needing money? That's vanity, Mr. Robert Ethan. If you keep trying to upset me like this, I won't be so lenient with you anymore. Jacob couldn't stand her twisted logic anymore and cut her off. Ethan cried uncontrollably, but after Jacob hung up, she didn't dare to bother him again. Ivy, however, wouldn't take no for an answer. He called Jacob, who had already made things clear. Yet, he came to find me with a fruit basket again. Dean, Jacob knows he was wrong now and is willing to change. Isn't that enough? Blood is thicker than water. You can't just sever family ties like that. Indigo, Jacob said with annoyance, the day you kicked me from home, I decided I wouldn't go back. I'm doing perfectly fine now. Can you please stop bothering me? Ivy put his arm around Jacob's shoulder. There's no lasting grudge between father and son. How about this? They'll sincerely apologize to you. Dad, I'm sorry. My birthday is coming up soon. You should come. They'll drink 3 shots as an apology. Jacob was already impatient, but Liam, he didn't care what Jacob was thinking. Ivy cleared his throat. I'm already 32. Dad, you don't need to get me a birthday present, Jordan. Mr. Zhang, to put it plainly, Ivy was just like Ethan. They apologized verbally, begging Jacob for forgiveness, but they didn't truly know they were wrong. They just wanted to continue to leech off me, and Jacob couldn't take it anymore and called her bodyguards to throw him out. Ivy, furious and embarrassed, shouted Willow, Mr. Christopher, I'm waiting for the day you get kicked out. When you come crawling back, begging to come home, I still won't agree. However, he was the one who became homeless, not Jacob. When Gary Johnson saw I wouldn't forgive him, and he truly didn't want to give up his company to cover the supplier payments, he went around borrowing money and even convinced Kevin and Brittany to sell their property to raise funds for him. He said the company was just experiencing cash flow issues, a temporary problem. As long as they got through this crisis, the company would bounce back, and it would still belong to the 2 of them. Ivy and Ethan believed him, equally greedy and completely clueless. They dared to take out all their savings to sell their Isabella and borrow money from relatives, pulling $10 million for Gary Johnson. Gary Johnson also kept his word and transferred the company shares to them. As a result, before the 2 of them even had a chance to be happy, the group of suppliers came demanding payment, and the bank also urged them to repay their loans quickly. Only then did they realize the company was left with a mountain of debt, and Gary Johnson was planning to flee the country with the money, and his son, Ethan, Ivy, and Onyx were furious. They went to demand an explanation from the father and son, blocking their car to prevent them from leaving. Neither side would back down. As a result, Gary Johnson misjudged his intimidation tactics. Instead of scaring them off, he hit and killed Susan on the spot. Kevin and Brittany also suffered broken legs and were admitted to the hospital. Gary Johnson was arrested on the spot. His daughter-in-law and son-in-law knew about this, and each ran for the hills faster than the last. Ivy and Ethan had no one to take care of them in the hospital, and couldn't even pay their medical bills, so they thought of Jacob again. Dean, Jacob truly knows he was wrong this time. I'm sorry, Lisa, only Dean is truly good to Jacob. Ethan borrowed a passerby phone to call Jacob, sobbing uncontrollably. Ivy groaned in pain. My wife and stepfather are unreliable. Only Dean and Jacob are closest to us. I'm sorry, Dean, Jacob was wrong. Please, Dad, help Brittany and me. We've lost all our money. We truly can't live like this anymore. This time, I didn't even say a word and just hung up the phone. Elijah, Taylor, and Noah were already calling for Jacob. Today was Jacob's 58th birthday. They said they wished me a happy birthday and hoped I would be happy every day from now on. Jacob would be